Surprise, motherfucker.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello. This is the Sunday Movie Marathon. Normal things, normal results. Episode 104. I'll do my intro now. It goes like this. It goes something like this. He's got his like lips like inside him, so it's like that. Wow. No pajama party for you, Mr. Graham. Fucking oh, fuck's sake. Well, yeah. That was my intro. How did you like it?
I have no clue what you just did.
I'll do it again for you. Wow. No pajama party for you, Mr. Graham.
Thanks, that cleared it up.
Do you like that? Yeah, nice. John today.
I'm Graham.
I'm Otto.
I've said all the stuff that I need to say. How are we this week?
Yeah.
Fuck
Doing
you.
good.
I love when Chris does that because no one can see him. He's nodding. He's like, yeah.
Feeling Christmassy.
It's like the most delayed thing ever. I think, I think we should have turned off the lights. I felt like that would have been more authentic.
You're closest to the light.
Oh, I can turn them
Oh,
off.
you turn them off and then it's
right.
feeling Christmassy in here. It's December once again. Fuck me, it's dark.
Oh,
Jesus, it's dark.
We live in a basement. Chris, there's a light up there.
You do...
Slash them.
Honestly. I honestly...
Motherfucker.
Fuck me. It looks like I'm being interrogated. This is why we need a video component, really. We could
my
put
God,
the camera there
really
and
should.
fucking, be easy. Easy as piss. I don't have to edit it, but it would be easy.
Yeah. Those who can't see us don't know that we live in a basement with only 4 lights. But to anyone who listens, because the only people that do listen have already been here, will already know what this place is like.
We've got Christmas lights now, though.
Yeah, but they're behind Max, so they don't really help him, to be fair. They're cute, though. I actually do like this tree topper now, but it doesn't do the cool thing that it said it was supposed to do.
What was it supposed to do?
The lights were supposed to go like whooshing in, then whooshing out, kind of like people can't see what I'm doing, but
Waving your arms around.
yeah, kind of. It kind of like zooms in and out like it's rippling, but yeah, it doesn't do that with those. So.
I think we all know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
You went out and got that tree, I think, right? Or there was a story behind that tree. You couldn't get a tree.
Wow,
and then you got a tree, and it sucked.
It only had 2 legs. I also got cancelled twice.
Most trees don't have any legs.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't until my mum called me roughly, what was it, last night at 9 p.m. that she finally went, well, you could have just put it in a pot and you wouldn't have had to have gone back and gotten legs for it. And I was like, but
yeah, we don't have a pot, so
no. I mean, in any
what
event,
do you have?
It wasn't handy. We had 2 legs. We needed 4
between you.
Yeah.
So it seemed.
And to take the tree back, it took us 2 legs and not 4. But here we are.
Here we are at the precipice of Christmas Day, sort of.
Yeah, well,
almost there. We got plans for Christmas. Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm going home on Christmas Eve because I'm actually working on Christmas Eve till 2 p.m. and then I'm coming home and I'm getting picked up and I'm going to go home. I think I'm coming back on the 28th, but I'm not sure yet.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Christopher?
Yeah, seeing family. Think on Christmas Eve we're seeing It's a Wonderful Life, but
Book
don't think we've actually 100% confirmed that yet.
with your family.
No,
me and you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll go. Fuck it. I ain't got nothing on.
Yeah, I thought you guys would have been, I don't know, either doing that or with family. Well, not you, Chris, but maybe Max. I don't know.
Well, they showed it at a cinema, but it was on my birthday, so I can't go.
Oh, yes.
So I had to go on Christmas Eve to another cinema. It's not completely out of the way. I don't mind, really.
Nah.
Very good movie. That we reviewed on this podcast last year. Go and listen to that episode right now, but after you listen to this one, which is not a Christmas episode. but it's
No.
it's sort of. I don't know.
It leads into Christmas episodes.
Yeah, there was one scene in Dexter set at Christmas.
No, the whole episode was set at Christmas.
Technically.
Yeah. Did you finish the show?
I don't know what you're talking about. We Spotify Wrapped just came out. Everybody's talking about Spotify Wrapped.
Yes.
It may be that we are on your Spotify Wrapped.
I don't know whose Spotify Wrapped are on.
We're on mine, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I bet we are.
I'll tell you that for free. Because I listened to the episodes after when they're like posted, just to see what we can do better and what we can improve. Most of the time, fucking spot on, man.
We've perfected the craft now.
Another great week.
Yeah, I like that. Whenever we're done, a little nugget for the listeners. Max will go home and be like, "Great episode, guys," and I'm like, "Oh,
yeah, a great episode, guys. Just keep the morale up, even if I'm not really feeling it. I'm like, I don't know, just got to say it, you know." And then when the episode comes out, I listen to it. I'm like, "Great episode, guys," just to keep the morale up.
Yeah, it's
boosted,
manifesting that energy.
Because sometimes there are weeks you just don't feel it at all, and you just want to not do it or even be a part of it at all.
I mean. Yeah,
we
don't get paid for this shit. This is out of passion, okay?
But not this week. This week we're on it like fucking Sonic. Like that, man. I think I totaled the most minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Spotify Wrapped. Whatever that. But you guys didn't really... You didn't have Spotify, Darcy? For a little bit.
I didn't have it for... Oh God, we're in December now. 11 months.
Right.
I think I used Apple Music for about 5 or 6 months.
Yeah. How many minutes did you accrue?
Let me get it up.
Get it up.
I only know mine because I sent it to Hannah because me and her always exchanged them. But I said I wasn't on Spotify this year. But in the 1 month that I was on it, I had done, it was 15,460.
It's commendable.
Yes,
I would say it's commendable.
Mm.
We were in my top. We were in the top 2 of my top podcasts for this year.
Oh,
I had 28,603 minutes.
Not bad. Because sometimes I'll just like put the podcast on, like if I'm feeling lonely or alone, I just want to hear the sounds of my friends and like feel like I'm in conversation with you guys.
See, I used to listen to it religiously before I came on it, but now that I'm on it,
I don't listen to it at all.
No, I don't.
Because you've lived it, you don't need to, do you?
Well, it's also the fact that I hate hearing my own voice back, so I'm like, oh God. Especially if I'm laughing. That is actually the worst.
What does that say about me?
Well, what do you mean, what's it say about you?
I must love the sound of my own voice.
Maybe you do. But then you're I don't know, you guys are also musicians by trade, so I say trade. But,
by trade and by virtue.
But I just feel like you guys are used to it, and you guys obviously don't mind hearing yourselves, whereas I hate it, so I don't do it.
A lot of the time when I listen to the podcast, I just think of things that I wish I had said, and it just annoys me because I didn't bring it up.
I used to think that for sure, but I don't anymore.
No, I think you just have to kind of go with the flow, to be honest.
There's only so much you can put into an hour and a half conversation where you're bouncing around and doing lots of things, you know?
Yeah. Especially when
we wanted to put down absolutely everything, then we would spend months and months on like a review or something, and or write it down. I don't know. This is just off the cuff.
Yeah,
we're not scripted here.
Well, we're not
for a little bit, but not really.
I guess if Chris was making notes, maybe he should start noting down everything he wants to talk about. Whereas,
he should see into the future and understand what you could have said, and then impart that onto the podcast. Oh, I didn't say my minutes listened. 115,938 minutes.
It's pretty good. Do you know what? That's a lot more than I've gone on my you know, the people just shout on their Instagram on their stories.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably one of the highest that I've seen. Everyone else is like bragging about how they've got 30 to 50,000.
30,000.
And I'm like, mate, I'm accumulated 15 in 1 month. Like, what is wrong with you boys?
Yeah, it's nothing to be proud of or even boast about whatsoever. It's algorithms and fucking, oh, look at this, the algorithm recorded me doing this. I'm think you're free? Fuck you. course not. No one's free in the Spotify Wrapped world.
No,
we all
that's
do
true.
the same thing every year. I like doing it. I like seeing what people have been listening to.
I actually think it's quite interesting. I'm actually very
I think it's just
upset
a bit of
that
fun.
Mhm.
I don't have one. Apparently Tidal did one about what year are we now? 22. They did one
Yeah,
last year, and then they didn't do one this year from the looks of things. So I guess I'll never find out how many minutes.
Probably takes too much to collate into
Yeah.
a handy little slide
I guess so.
that they hand you at the end. Here's your little slide with
Yeah.
your top musicians and
Yeah.
songs.
Everyone can find out that Charlie XCX is my most listened to artist
Is
the
she your
second
most
year
listened
in
to?
a row.
Is she actually?
Yeah.
Mm.
Mine was very unsurprising.
Yes.
Mine was Sleep
Oh,
Token
yeah.
once again.
Yeah, good one.
I don't think that's ever going to change at this point because I pretty much listen to those albums non-stop.
Mm. I
To
like
the-
changing it up a bit.
I thought
like
I'd get
going for
bored.
different things.
Mm.
I measured it because I screenshotted my one for last year, and all the artists and songs were completely different. So
I
happy about
actually,
that.
do you know what? I'm so glad that you kind of brought this up because it's just triggered a brain memory for me that I went for it. So you know how when you do Wrapped, the last couple of years of your like most played songs come up. So it'd be like your most played 2019, 2020, that kind of thing. I looked at mine and I'm actually embarrassed at how many songs are on most played 2018 that are still on my
I had
most
that with a
played of
few.
like this year. I'm like, do I not listen to anything else?
I think the last 2 or 3 years, my top 5 artists haven't massively changed.
no, it's really for me. I find it quite embarrassing because I feel like I want to be one of those people that kind of like develops and grows. I've just stunted myself musically because I can't listen to anything else without. I find it really difficult to listen to new music. I know you guys obviously know this, but like, I just find it really difficult because if I don't vibe with it straight away, I'll probably just never listen to it ever again. Or someone will be like, "Oh, listen to this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," and I won't get to it for like a week, and I'll be like,
part of my 10-year plan to eventually get you to be an insanely devoted fan to my favourite band.
I mean,
Or I drip feed you songs. You go, well, maybe you'll like this one, and you go, that one's shit. And then I recommend you the same song a year later.
have you done that yet? I don't know.
It's gonna, you know.
No,
just,
that's a game
trust
that you
the
could do,
process.
though,
It's
yeah.
I'm playing the long game.
To be fair, there have been some massive hits for Max though. Like he'll be like, "Oh, I'll just listen to this thing," and then I'll listen to it for like 6 weeks straight.
Mhm.
So sometimes he's got some proper bangs,
What-
and then
what
sometimes
were
there's
any
some
of
massive misses.
I need to know what were any of those.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But then you're asking me to remember things in a split moment decision, so it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll make a coherent list for you.
We're doing the Sunday music marathon now.
Oh yeah, we totally
song
tangented.
fucking 2
dude.
to 5 were like from the exact same artist and the exact same album for me. Because I think a new album will come out and I'll just rinse it, just like
So-
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So like most of the songs that I played apparently were from Spirit Box's new album,
Nice.
which I think came out last year.
Yeah, it did.
But I only got around to it like early this year, and then like I played like a bunch of like Nothing But Thieves album, just like over and over and over again.
I
The
think that was one
Wombats,
that
I
you
did that
recommended,
with
to be fair.
Lorna Shore. I've done that with loads, and The Devil Wears Prada. Yeah, I'm a mad of the music. You know, I've got to get my fix. I've got to get more and more new things, more new stuff.
Yeah, I actually think that Spirit Box album was probably the thing that I listened to like every day for about 3 months or something ridiculous.
My top 2 songs of the year are from that Ariana Grande album, Thank You Next, because I discovered that in January and
Sure,
I
I'm
just
gonna
became
see
obsessed
if I
with it.
have anything like.
That's a good one. That's a good album.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
a great album.
one. Tell us.
Oh yeah, I remember Chris was laughing because 4 out of the 5 of my top songs are all Sleep Token songs, and the only song that wasn't is a song that is on my top played but not on my top artist, which doesn't make any sense. And it's a Billy Talent song.
Oh yeah,
Makes no sense. I just don't understand where this comes from. But then again,
sometimes
I only
it doesn't.
Yeah, I only have.
Sometimes you don't know.
You know, if you only have it for like a month, you're only going to accumulate so much.
Last year
music.
was like fucked for me because Bo Burnham put out his movie
Oh,
Inside.
yeah.
I rinsed that album because it went on Spotify. I just played it pretty much every day, and then he turned into my top artist of that year. Yeah.
Weren't like all of your top 5 songs from that album as well?
No, none of them were.
Fair.
None of them were. No, most of them were from Don Broco's album.
Oh, to be fair,
Things.
that wasn't. They were actually. I think they were my third.
Yeah.
Most listened to artist.
But that was last year. Last year I totaled 83,151 minutes. So, really?
You're really getting there this year, aren't you?
It's because I started that new job this year, and I can just hook up to the Alexa and listen to my music all day.
Oh, that's what I do
I've
at
been
work
there for
now,
about 6 months now, and I just do that like any time I'm there, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
We don't have a music license at our place, so we just sit in silence.
Oh my God, that's like the worst thing you've ever told me. At least
that is sad.
At least
that is very sad.
The thing is, we don't have a music license, but I'm still out there with my little Samsung little speaker playing my Spotify like there's no tomorrow.
Probably not policed too much.
That is true, actually.
I don't think anyone really enforces it. It's just like one of those things that you're supposed to have.
Yeah, the PRS license.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not. I don't really get it though, because it's not like you're doing anything. You're just playing. Like if you're already paying for something like Spotify, could you not just use your own personal?
No,
I don't get.
It's not how it works. You're in a public place.
All right. Well, I'm yet to be told by the policeman of Albert Road to turn off my spirit box every time I play at work.
Enforces it.
Oh, I do though. When customers come in and they go, "Oh God, I thought you'd be listening to the Carpenters. What on earth is this?" And I'm like, I have to turn it down half the time when people come in because I get embarrassed. I'm like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, last job I was in, I sort of bent the rules a bit because like sometimes I would be on the front desk and like people would come in and it was an art gallery, so I would just like play what I thought an art gallery would play. But like it was just my music most of the time, so nobody complained. It was a lot of Novo Amor, very subtle and like calming music. I think I could get away with it.
We stopped putting on the radio at work because obviously we don't know how much of this I should give away because like technically it's illegal to loan trade and things in the United Kingdom. But
you don't say your work. I think it's fine.
That's cool. Well, yeah, I trade alone a lot of the time. So one of my colleagues was like, "Yeah, I put on like Radio 6 because people talk and I just feel like there's people here with me." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I started getting into this weird habit of putting on the radio, but I only put on the radio for about half an hour at a time because then I'll hear a song that I've already heard, or it'll be like, "It's the Christmas remix." And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then I'll have to put on something else. So I switch between like 6 different radio stations every day. And then I give up and put on Spotify by about 3 p.m.
And that's what's good about podcasts. You can curate it. When you listen to the radio, it's just the same thing over and over again, and everybody acts very like you were really over the top. It's a good thing about this podcast. We will never be enthusiastic enough for you to even think about. Yeah, maybe they're a bit too much.
Maybe they're a bit too.
We're never too much. We're never really anything.
Yeah, no, I always thought if it was going to be any of us, it would definitely be me. But I
think we're normal.
Yeah, I just don't think I want to come across as that dynamic about
like, whoa, this was awesome. We're never going to be like that.
That's
why we have our slogan: normal things, normal results.
You just made that up, though.
No, you said it. You made that up, and I appropriated it.
When did I say that?
Couple of episodes ago. It's not on the podcast, but right before you said normal things, normal results, and I said I'm going to use that forever and always now. So you watched a movie.
We started with me because we need to time manage me.
Oh, don't worry, you're on the clock.
No, actually I'm just getting up the movie because I didn't actually write it down. I just wrote Laal, and then that was it. Like there was no like context to that.
So for some reason you decided to take it upon yourself to watch a movie today that was Indian and about 2.5 hours long.
It is 2 hours and 24 minutes.
Why?
Well, so there's this guy I watch on YouTube. His name's 16 Leo, and he So when I'm getting ready in the morning to go to work or just whatever, I'll put on like a YouTube video, just something mindless, so I have something in the background whilst I'm getting ready or whatever, right?
We can't be alone with our thoughts, people.
No, especially not me.
We can't do it. I'm exactly the same.
And I just saw one of his videos, and it was something stupid like Bollywood remix Forrest Gump, and it is as hilariously bad as you think it is. And I was like, oh shit, because Forrest Gump is one of my favourite movies. If not your fave. Pod does not know, it is in fact probably my favourite movie. But I saw this video, and the second I saw because he was playing like clips from it, because he was basically doing like a talk through, and I only got about 10 or 15 minutes into this episode of whatever series he was doing, right? And I went, I'm actually going to watch this, so I just stopped it and watched something else. But basically, yeah, I watched a movie, and I think this guy called Amir Khan.
Amir Khan?
Yep, his name's Amir Khan, no joke.
Ain't that the football player?
I thought Amir Khan was like
Probably.
a boxer or something.
I mean, he's one of the sports people.
Yeah, he's one of the people.
He's one of the people. Amir Khan.
I was going to say, this is not him.
Former professional boxer, yeah.
Yeah. But obviously it's not him, it's a different guy with the same name.
Right.
Apparently he and his company and like Viacom or something, I don't know the story off by heart because I kind of glazed past it when this YouTuber was talking about it, bought the rights to the screenplay for Forrest Gump, right? And then they remade it. For why, no one knows, because it's only been 28 years since the last... the original movie came out.
There's loads of those sort of like Bollywood remakes of like classic American movies.
No idea, but it's on Netflix and you can watch it in English. But I said, no, I'm going to preserve the Indian and I'm going to watch it in, I'm guessing it's Punjab? Is that the language? I don't know. Right. But anyway.
We've got a lot of languages there.
Okay. I just realised there was something that I didn't look up that I was meant to look up.
Yeah, it's more likely it's probably Hindi.
Oh, it might actually tell me when I go to look at the details. It is in Hindi, yes.
Yeah.
So the film's called Laal Singh Chaddha, and it's about this guy called Laal who does all the things that Forrest Gump did, but it's like the Indian equivalent. So you know how in Forrest Gump they had all the historical American things that were happening, like the Vietnam War and Elvis and all this other kind of shit. They do the same, but they do like Indian historic events. So, and there's a lot of stuff
Partition.
that I did. Do you know what? I'll be honest, I can't remember. But there was only one that I wrote down. There was something about Gandhi was mentioned at the very beginning,
Right.
and then there was something called. I wrote it down.
You want to call him an event?
So I'm trying to actually find the event. Like I said, this is a very long list that I've got. The Mandel Commission. That is the only other thing I've written down because that's the only thing that they... well, I didn't say that they explained, but I think they assumed that a lot of people watching this movie would be people that knew Indian history, because I was just like, okay, things are happening.
Maybe.
Like they were talking about... So in the original Forrest Gump... Forrest meets Elvis and then shows him is like that weird dance move that he does, and then Elvis does it and gets famous. But apparently there's a Shah Rukh Khan, some famous Bollywood actor. Apparently Laal meets him and then he does the dance and then he becomes like this famous Bollywood actor and all this kind of shit. And essentially I just wanted to see all the parallels, right? So it takes 3 minutes, no, actually 4 minutes and 17 seconds for the feather to land on Laal's feet.
Right.
And in the original it takes like 30 fucking seconds. But it was really cool because you see all these like nice shots of like modern day like India basically, and all these cool like because obviously in the original he's sitting on a park bench and he's just kind of chilling, but in this one he's actually on a train. Woo-hoo! And he starts like getting like crowds of people that are on the train like started talking to him like, oh, and then what happened, and then this happened, and it was really funny. But there's a lot of like, you know, references that kind of go back and forth to what the original was like, and then I kind of had you have that innate thing to just constantly compare them. So I was writing stuff who's the Jenny in this movie? And her name's Rupa. And then I was like, who's the Bubba in this movie? And his name's like Bala or something.
Oh yeah.
And I was just trying to find like all the parallels to it, and there was. So you know that my favorite bit of this whole film actually. So I'm going to ignore the rest of it because I've written so many notes. But there was this one bit that it was like the best bit of the whole film. So you know in the original where he goes running.
Yeah.
Forrest goes running and he's running for fucking years and years.
He does that a lot.
And years, right?
In my mind, that's about half the movie.
Okay.
Do you mean when he like just
constantly
keeps running and he's like got a beard and shit?
Yeah, they do it in this film as well.
Nice.
And oh my god, do you know what? I'm not gonna lie, it shit all over the original, but only because no. The only reason I say that is because it had so many nice fucking shots of like rural and like outback places of India, and I was like, this is fucking incredible. Like when he's talking to Rupa, like, you know, when she's dying, like Jenny died of like AIDS or whatever, but she dies from a mysterious illness or cancer or something, because God forbid they give her fucking AIDS, right? But
different time.
Oh my god, there's this bit where he's talking about, so you know, in the original he's talking about the two skies that meet, like when does heaven stop and the earth begins, that kind of shit. He doesn't quite word it the same though, which is a bit lame because that's like my favourite line in the whole film. But he goes, oh, then there was like this twilight milky things in like the deserts of India. Fucking hell. He's standing there and there's like this sexy like fucking like twilight fucking Milky Way thing behind him. Oh my god. I think I think I actually wrote what did I write? It was something like, holy shit, the fucking star scene is incredible. There was just a lot of really cool things. Like I just liked all the like, there was like a lot of cool like changes that they did, like little Indian twists and stuff. Like there was a thing right at the beginning, and I'm gonna butcher this so badly. The box of chocolates is replaced with something called a Golga Pass or something. I don't know.
I don't even know what you're trying to say.
I didn't look it up afterwards, which was what I was supposed to do. But then I started doing work and I forgot to do it. But essentially, it looks like a sweet treat. It looks kind of like a baked good. I don't know what it was, but it looked really cool. There's just so many things. Like the notes. I'm not even justifying this movie, right? Because there's just so many notes about how like cool I found some of the things, and then how like lame I found some of the things as well. Like I think I wrote a note about 2 hours and 8 minutes into it, and I said, I have lost all interest now, but it's taken 2 hours to do this. So I thought, fair enough, yeah. And then when he meets his his son's name's Aman, right? And you know, in the original, he goes, oh, you know, look, you got a kid now. And she's like, yeah. And then she goes, his father's name is Laal Singh, whatever. And he goes, oh, he's got the same name as me. And I was like, oh yeah, Forrest is meant to be like really stupid, isn't he? Yeah. So you forget that he goes, like, then he starts freaking out because he's like, oh shit, I've got a kid. And she's like, oh yeah, surprise. It's just so stupid. And they get married and it's rich. You know what? Really nice wedding. They wear like baby pinks and they do all the traditional Indian customs, and it's really, really nice. I mean,
wait, so does Jenny not die in this one?
Jenny does die in this movie.
But they get married first. Yeah,
so they get married first, and then just like in the original, she pretty much dies like straight after. Like he then goes into they do the exact same scene that they do with, you know, his mum, where they're sitting together and she's laying in bed or whatever. That happens with his mum, then it happens again with Rupa, who is like the Jenny equivalent. Yeah, she just kind of dies, but she doesn't even look sick when she's like dying.
Did they get married in the original?
They did, yeah. Okay,
I don't remember. I've not seen that film in so long.
They did. And there's that one of the final scenes where Laal's talking to Rupa's like gravestone. She has a fucking lovely gravestone. Absolutely gorgeous. I was like, he's so much better than Jenny's. And I was like, but Jenny also was a bitch.
Yeah, Jenny's a cunt.
That's the thing, though. This film is so much like, I want to say tamer in the way they deal with that kind of stuff, because you would never the themes that they do in the original, they didn't even touch in this. Like, oh my god, there was one thing in this film though that was really fucking dark. So Rupa's like praying that she becomes rich because everyone in Laal's village is like really, really poor, and Laal's like the only, like his family's like the only people with money basically. And this guy's like shouting at his wife like, yeah, I know you have more rupees, I need more rupees. And she's like, it's for Rupa's education. And then this guy fucking slams the shit out of her and she dies because you can hear the crack. And I was like, fuck me. And then she gets wheeled out in this fucking like, you know, the
gurney.
Fucking, yeah, with a cloth over her. And they're just like, oh yeah, he's just killed your mum. And she's standing there just watching as her dead corpse fucking comes out. I was like, that was dark, and that never happened in the original movie. Jesus Christ. That was probably one of the worst parts. Was just like, oh god, it was like, it felt so out of touch with the rest of it because, like, obviously, Jenny's like a massive like crack addict in the original, and poor Rupa, she's just poor. So she's like, she's become a model and an actress, but she's like sleeping with like older men and like men with like money and stuff like that. And that's about as like risque as it kind of goes, to be honest. The rest of it is just kind of like tame in comparison, but God, it was. Do you know what? It was all right because people were complaining about it being like really, really awful. I don't think it was awful. I just, I'd say it's prettier than the original by far, if I'm going to be honest.
Suck it, Zemeckis.
It's definitely prettier, but would I say it's better? No. Would I even say it's great? No.
Not great, but visually quite nicer.
Yeah, like I just don't think it's as bad as people are saying it is. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, if we're going to compare it, then sure, yeah, but
yeah,
I think it has its own.
That naturally happens, I think.
I just think it has its own like personality to it, and I think you don't have to have necessarily watched or even liked Forrest Gump. I think if you wanted to enjoy this film, if that makes sense. I don't think it's a requirement, but I
as long
definitely
as it tells its story.
That's what I mean. I think it goes about it in its own way that you probably, I mean, obviously it copies enough of the original Forrest Gump for it to be like, this is a Forrest Gump remake. But if you had taken out most of those elements, you could have just said it was kind of like it, but wasn't it, if that makes sense. Like they could have just made it its own thing, but they just didn't, and I don't know why.
I personally want to see Bollywood remakes of all movies. I think that would be awesome. I mean, if it was like a
anything
Bollywood remake of Blade Runner, that would slap.
Do you know what they did? Was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't Bollywood. Never mind. I recently heard about this. I can't remember what country it was, but or Spanish or Mexican. So one of these two, right, had remade the whole Breaking Bad series.
Yeah, that was Mexico.
Fucking hilarious. I watched the whole video on it when you guys all went to the pub one day, and I was like, watch this. It looked like shit. It genuinely looked like shit.
When the cat's away, eh?
This is what I do when you guys are gone. I have to entertain myself with terrible, terrible videos.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot. Nice.
Some of it was cool.
Yeah. A ringing endorsement. Go watch it. It's on Netflix. Whatever it was called.
Don't worry, Chris is now going to have to find the post for it later. So.
That's true.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Chris and I saw a movie that Darcy didn't see.
That's true.
It's called Bardo. And I didn't write down the subtitle, but I'm going to try and come up with it right off the top of my head. It's a handful of... No, it's it's about truth and fucking lies, so like a handful of... No. Fuck.
You got
a
it
handful
there,
of
don't
truth about series of unfortunate events. No. Fuck. It was as
I've got it up, but
events.
I enjoy this.
No, Chronicle. It's Chronicle. About Chronicles.
Yeah, Chronicle is in the
Chronicle.
title.
No, Bardo Chronicle of a handful. It's false. Truth and false is what it is. False chronicle of a handful of truths.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
You got it eventually.
Yes.
Do you know what makes it worse? I saw that come up on Netflix earlier, and I was like, I must remember this title. And what
Bardo,
happened?
False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. It's the new Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu movie. Came out in the cinema where we are before it goes directly to Netflix.
On the 16th, I believe it is.
On the 16th of December. So, this is a movie made by one of the true greats in the system. He made such hits as Birdman, Morris Perros, and
The Revenant. And we watched Babel. He did that.
Yeah, we watched Babel.
Babel's the only one
Cracker.
Yeah, Babel's great.
Cracker of a movie. Bardo, is it as good or is it It's about this guy, a journalist who's been away. He's doing journalist stuff in America. He goes back to Mexico, his homeland.
He makes documentaries and shit.
Documentaries. He goes back. He's like, I'm back, and everyone's like, you make movies for the Americans, don't you? You sold out or whatever. And he's like, it's about a lot of stuff. It's about Mexico. It's about basically Iñárritu telling his story. I think I got a lot from him telling his story of what it was like to work in the Hollywood American system. Going back to Mexico, trying to pick things up or trying to reconnect with his culture in a way.
This is his first Mexican movie since Morris Perros' first movie.
So there we go.
Interesting.
I really enjoyed it. It's not it's hard to really describe in a narrative sense because it's not really going for direct, straightforward narrative. It's it's a handful of stuff.
Is it
just a lot of stuff going? Kind of like segments, but it all kind of links into each other. It is in a sort of way.
I think that's his staple, though, isn't it? That's what Babel did. Everything's just one thing.
Yeah, he has that trilogy. I think it's called Trilogy of Death or something that Babel's part of, with a Morris Perros and 21 Grams.
Yeah,
where it's all interconnected stories, like 4 or 5 different stories all in one. Whereas this isn't really that. It's just kind of it's just a series of events that happens to this guy throughout a portion of his life.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And how was it?
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
That was the question that everyone wanted to know.
It's very, very divisive from the seams of things.
Yeah.
I think people seem to be quite mixed on it. It got a couple of film festival screenings which were very, very poorly received, and I think he went in and cut out half an hour or something.
Oh, didn't you say? Yeah, so everyone said it was too long.
Yeah, they
and
were
honest, it's 3 hours. That is too long.
People were it's disjointed and doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's too long. And now it's been cut down, and everyone seems to say it's definitely a lot better in its current form. It's still 3 hours long. It's still a really chunky movie, but
I thought it was less than that though.
No, it's 3 hours. It was originally 3.5.
Oh,
and now it's 3 hours.
Right. I thought they cut it from 3 to 2 and... Oh, no, wasn't it I thought you said it was 2:40 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, that's not technically 3 hours though, is it? If we're gonna go there.
It's like watching a man make his magnum opus in a sort of way. Because I felt like it was all about him. And he was exploring...
I think Chris said that when he got home that night, to be fair.
A lot of his own experiences in working in cinema and doing all this stuff. I mean, the guy is a journalist, but obviously Iñárritu, he's a filmmaker, and he does blur the lines a lot, and enough to where you can be he's definitely talking about his own experiences and in the system. I think I cried the whole way through. I'm not gonna lie. I think from the beginning, I don't know. It was it's it feels like he did it for the love of it, and if there was any movie you could look at and be this was made because this man wanted to make it and he needed to express himself. This is that movie. It's so much in terms of the expression of it, and I wasn't really narratively going oh, this leads into this and this is this.
Yeah, it kind of it kind of feels like a therapy session, I think.
Yeah, is that why it was so like? I'm not going to go with the word sad, but I guess when people cry, was touching. I guess is maybe the word I'm looking for.
It was very emotional.
Yeah, was it what it? Yeah, was it because of what it brought, or?
I think he's trying to say a lot with like a lot of like sort of subtle metaphor and like different things that happen within the movie where it's like, I don't know if I can be like, this means this because he's thinking about this and this correlates to that. It's just like things happen, you're like, oh, okay, that brought about a certain feeling and that makes me feel kind of sad. But like, I understand where he's kind of coming from with this idea of going back home and finding that it's not really home in a sort of way, but like, like where do you call home? And I got this idea of like his kind of dual stance on the idea of borders and nationality being kind of vague or maybe unimportant, with the idea of identifying with your nationality and loving your country so much, and it's like this place you call home, but how can you like, I think he tries to blur the lines with that a lot between this guy who lived in America for so long, he owns a house there, he pays, tax, and he has a visa. If he goes back and forth, which one is really his home?
Yeah.
And there was like a fantastic fucking scene in this movie when that kind of clicked for me, where he met, like he goes back to America and he has to go through customs, and the security guard is like, I've got it written down actually, I wrote it straight after. He says, this is not your home, you can't call it your home. And he's like, this is my home, I live here, I pay tax, I've got a visa, I've lived here for ages. He's like, that's fine, sir, but you can't, like, this is not your home, you can't call it your home. Which is obviously not what a security guard would say to you if you're like,
I fucking hope not.
Oh, what's your like purpose of visiting? And he says, I live here. And he's like, no, you don't. You can't. He's like, you can't call this your home.
You actually don't live here.
It's so sad. It's so sad. He's like, and he gets so mad about it. He's like, he calls his superior and he's like, this guy just told me that this wasn't my home and it upset me a lot and I need him to apologize to me. And he like, the security guard comes out and he's like, oh, I don't speak Mexican, I'm an American, when they like try to speak Mexican to him. And the son says, America's a continent, asshole, we're all fucking American. It's like, yes, I love that. It's like, it's also poking fun at like just racism and people with the flimsy fucking excuses for being horribly racist.
Why don't you go back to where you came from? A lot of them are like already born in the country that they're chatting
American
about.
Arsehole. It's like, that's not, first of all, that's not a language.
You're right, it's not.
Second of all, America is a continent. It's like the United States of America is one country, but America is that whole place,
I think that also just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of highlights how like if you could hear yourself, wouldn't you be like, God, that's embarrassing? Did you just hear what I just said?
A big part of the movie is like the characters kind of getting like a big literary award or something in America for like journalism. He's like the first Mexican to ever do it.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to ever get it, and it kind of feels like he's almost like referencing like getting nominated for Oscars and stuff. How that's like very much like a big American thing.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of guilt in the movie.
Yeah, is that like I was going to say something like imposter syndrome, but technically he's not American, is he? So is it one of those things where I guess you kind of feel like you're invading on like, I don't know how to describe this without I don't want it to come off wrong, but like, is that something that like you would feel like you shouldn't be doing because you're not technically in that it's like when people go, Australia's in the Eurovision, they're not in Europe, they aren't a part of Europe, they're their own place. And is it similar to that? Like he's like, I'm not American.
He kind of feels like guilt for kind of leaving his country to go to
okay, we're going
this,
different places
like, big like American country and getting like big like awards and kind of like reaping in the like the fame and the glamour of America, while like people in Mexico struggle.
Right, but the thing is though, and I don't want it to become a political thing, because I'm not going to start going into like the all that kind of stuff. But like, if he's gone over to America for, I don't know why he went in the first place, but he's gone to America for some reason, and he's worked hard to get all the awards and the acclaim and stuff, and then why should he feel bad? He worked for that.
I think there's like a big part of the movie where he like feels like people in Mexico like judge him for leaving, and that is kind of like brought up a little bit.
Yeah,
it's like there's a big like journalist, like TV host in Mexico who was like his best friend, and they like came up together, and they have like a scene together, but like this big ceremony where they're like just arguing, and he's like saying that he thinks his work is just shit. He doesn't think there's like any like any like journalistic like
integrity
weight.
or something.
No, integrity and weight.
Oof. I mean, that's a little bit harsh, but I mean, some people, the thing is, I don't think it matters who you are. Some people are generally just going to think your work's shit anyway. I know obviously they're saying it for certain like reasons.
I love that scene. And it is also about like, it's art, documentary. To a certain extent, you can like a documentary, but somebody else might not like that documentary.
Yeah, it's subjective, isn't it, really?
But you tell if it's doing well enough with the information that it's got, then I think it's like fine enough to have opinions on it. But like if it's just like something that's like poorly told, I don't know. I think when it gets into documentary, it gets a bit more linear.
Yeah, that's the difference between like what smut and factual information, I suppose.
I think there was a bit in that scene where he like says that he's tired of showing what he thinks and he wants to show what he feels instead.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that kind of resonated quite deeply with a lot of the themes of the movie and how it's presented.
Yeah, definitely. It is going for like that more metaphorical angle, or just like not so linear storytelling. It's like a handful of events where in that you kind of think, well, it's not like everything. He's not showing you everything. Can't show you everything. It's just like a handful of like little things that can kind of show you about how he was feeling at the time that he made it. It is also a lot about Mexico, and in terms of that, I think there's a lot about the movie that I don't understand or can't understand because I'm not from that culture, and it's not really trying to communicate to me on that level. But I understand that he understands what he's trying to say. I really like the scene where, like, I guess we're going into spoilers. It's hard to spoil this movie because it is like the way it is. But there's a scene where like he's kind of walking alone in this cityscape, and he comes up to like this massive hill, and there's a guy on top of it, like shouting, and he tries to climb the hill, but it's made out of bodies, and they're all supposed to be dead. Who is it? Cortez. And they have this conversation where like Cortez like discovered Mexico, or like, in terms of like it was like supposed to be paralleling like Christopher Columbus and how he discovered America, and like, they were talking about like they were the Indian savages before, and like I'm Cortez and I'm here and I made Mexico what it is. He was like, it was like when he was the guy said they're not Indians, they weren't Indians. Like, stop calling them Indian because they weren't from India.
Oh right, yeah. I've never quite. I don't know. Is that like? Because I swear that's like. I don't know if that's an American thing, but I swear that's always been like a point of contention as whether it's something or something else.
I've always been of the mind that they call them Indian.
Yeah, native Indian.
Brown.
Is that what that is?
I think so. Like Indians, sort of, because they're brown. Skin tone brown.
Fuck! I never thought about that.
That's why I got a lot of flack for that when I was growing up, and I let slip that I was partially Indian.
Oh, what you thought?
And everybody thought that they like I was like American, like Native American.
You were Native American.
Yeah. A teacher said to me, I said, because I had gotten the wrong end of the stick. She was talking about like Native American Indians. I was like, my granddad was Indian, and then she like stood me up in front of the whole class and went, Max just told me that his grandfather was Native American Indian. I'm like, that's not what I fucking said. And then they chased me around the playground yelling racist abuse at me. But yeah, I really like that scene. where he's on the hill and they're talking about that made me think, there's a lot in here that makes you think.
To be honest, I didn't really like that scene that much, but
Mhm.
it might be one that maybe a second go I like it a bit more if I like really understand what's going on.
I think that is part of the problem, though, isn't it? If you don't quite understand something, it's just gonna go straight over, innit?
Went over my head, but I could sort of pick out pieces and be like, okay, like, I kind of understand, and it all kind of feeds into how he's feeling and what he wants to communicate. There's like parts of that was just like crying, and I didn't really know
feel it, didn't you?
why I was crying. The old Tenet line, like, don't think it, feel it.
Maybe that was the whole point. Actually, maybe you just don't think about it. If you're feeling it, just be in the moment.
There are a lot of like really interesting, like kind of surreal, like visual things going on.
Mhm.
I think one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when he's like at this big like awards party, like this big party in Mexico, like celebrating him getting this award, and he sneaks off into the bathroom and like sees his dad who's like passed away, and like suddenly he's like his height is like the size of a child, and he's got like a really big like adult size head, but the rest of him's like a child.
That sounds
And now
horrible.
it's like it's really like uncanny valley like visually, but it's like I think it works really well, and like the scene is really really beautiful and powerful while they're like just kind of talking.
I like them juxtaposing kind of that funny humorous nature of like his head's really big and he's really small and he's like, I love you, daddy, but then like what they're talking about is so like it really hits home emotionally. I think he's very good at juggling that, and I thought a lot of this movie is very funny, and I thought he's very good at that. You saw that with Birdman. He's very good at imbuing his movies with comedy and when it needs to be comedic, and he did that a lot with this because it was about his life really, and I guess you don't really tell a story about a portion of your life or like in that grand scale type of thing without having just a lot of comedy in there as well as like all the kind of sour or upsetting notes.
Yeah, I guess otherwise it gets too heavy, I suppose, isn't it?
There's a great scene where like he's running around trying to chase his wife through the house. Sometimes she disappears. I'm like, is she really there, or like does she exist? And like they're kind of running around and they're naked, and then she does exist, and it's a lot of fun just like seeing them and how much he loves his family and how he kind of dragged them to America for a while, and that like his son speaks English fluently, but he often speaks English in substitute of Spanish even, just because that's how he was raised, and he was like, I don't know why you brought us to America for that long, and like I don't know, and he's kind of juggling with this idea of maybe you shouldn't have done it, or like what was the right thing, and what does it mean to like how do you get things right as a parent, or like, how do you know what to get right, especially when you're like a journalist and you're going everywhere and you're seeing everything. He sees a lot of shit. I really like the parts where like there's like a mass wave of like immigration. He's like trying to report it, but it's like so fucked up because like just nobody's having a good time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Ooh. I mean, I probably have a bit more to say. I'm just looking through my notes now. I don't know. I like when his wife kind of confronts him. She says, why when a Mexican complains about Mexico, you're happy to agree and like piss on it, but when a gringo complains about Mexico, you become incredibly patriotic and defend it with your life.
What is a gringo?
It's a white person.
I mean,
Darcy clearly did not listen to our From Dusk Till Dawn episode.
Probably not, mate.
When the
fuck was that?
It was that, and it was the Puppy Star Christmas episode.
I know, yeah. Sorry, it was that one, wasn't it?
Oh,
it wasn't.
God, yeah, because it probably said Puppy Star Christmas. I said, nope, avoiding that. Oh, man, I was just about to, like... No, but...
It's about, like, defending your nation or, like, your country.
But, like,
and,
I swear that's, like, the normal thing to do, though, isn't it?
Patriotism towards where you come from.
Even if you think it's a shithole, you have to. It's like, I can say it's shit, but you can't fucking say it's shit.
Yeah.
It's like when people start ragging on me about Luton, I'm like, mate, it is a shithole. But if you're not from there, you haven't been there.
Don't say shit.
Yeah.
Even though I say shit about Luton all the time.
Yeah, but you're a scumbag. But I'm also from a place where everyone also is a scum.
Yeah. And with that, we'll rate the movie.
Yeah. This is like such a deftly packed, like huge movie that I feel like it's difficult to kind of talk about it quite like unscripted, like without many notes very quickly. So I feel like it's one we probably could easily like talk about again in the future, like do a proper, all three of us diving into it.
Yeah.
Get a good discussion out of it. I think it's a really fascinating movie. Completely understand why it's very divisive. But I do hope that when it hits Netflix, maybe it finds its audience. It really does feel like the sort of movie that in a few years' time people are going to be talking about a lot, even if they aren't really now. Yeah, I love the movie. Give it 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I don't think there's any like wrong or right way to talk about the movie, especially with what it's how it's structured. A lot of things thrown at you, and you can only have a conversation that kind of mimics that sort of pattern. But yeah, I loved it. Pretty much couldn't stop crying. And I would like everybody to see it when it comes out. I hope it does very well. I understand why people wouldn't like it, but for me, it's like exactly my kind of movie. And I didn't read any reviews going in beforehand. I didn't even really know what it was about so much. I just know that he made it, and I knew it was going to be something. You know, whatever he does, it's always something. You need to pay attention to it. He's a fantastic director. He's one of the best working today, and this movie is a fucking masterpiece. I'll give it 10 out of 10. I loved it.
Nice.
I do wonder if people are gonna watch that.
Guess we'll see.
It just shat onto Netflix.
Yeah, because if it's on Netflix,
oh, do you want to watch this Mexican 3-hour Mexican
like,
movie
no,
about?
I'm not going to watch that.
Just like a string of things that happens to this man.
I think a lot of like the film nerds will watch it.
I think it's going to be.
They'll be like, from the director of The Revenant and Birdman, and they'll be like, I like those movies, so I'll give it a go.
Yeah,
that might be what happens.
Yeah, it's either going to be like, you're going to get a niche bunch of people being like, God, got to fucking watch that, and then
it's not for everyone. It's definitely not for everyone.
It's
not something that everybody has to like. I don't think it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Be.
No. I just wonder who's actually going to watch it. To be fair,
what a director, though.
Fucking insane director.
I've only got 2 of his movies I've not watched, but I've literally loved every single one I've seen.
Yeah. Damn. He's one of the ones.
One of the ones. Cool. All right, come on, Chris. What did you do?
We're doing a season 1 of a show Chris picked. If you haven't understood what that is, we do a show every episode that ends in a 5, but this time it's a 4 because we've got a Christmas episode next week. And before we used a wheel to determine what we were going to watch. It was randomized, but now we decided that it's too much to watch to be determined by a random wheel, so we're just going to decide for ourselves what we're going to pick. So Chris picked the very first show of this ilk. What did you pick, and explain it a bit? Yeah,
so I picked the show Dexter. It's a show I don't know if I'd consider it my favourite, but it's definitely up there. It's a show that I do think is incredibly flawed, especially this season. But there's just something about it. I just love it, even like despite its flaws. I kind of love the things I think are bad about it.
Like, aren't we really keen to see what Max has said? Yeah, because apparently Chris has been actively avoiding asking you, Max, how you felt about it, because he wanted to get the first real insight as we're
get
discussing
into that in
here.
a second.
Okay,
so the show is about Dexter Morgan, who is he works for the Miami Metro PD as a blood splatter analyst by day, but by night he is a serial killer.
By night he is a serial killer.
Yeah, he's like an angel of death. He goes around, he kills other serial killers. He's like
and
lives his life by a code created by his father. It's like Harry. It's like a way of like keeping out of prison. Killing people who deserve it, who kind of slip through the cracks of the system. The first season's about that, kind of introducing you to the character and his life and all the people around him. and also about this serial killer called the Ice Truck Killer, or that's what he's nicknamed by the Miami Metro. And there's like this big web between him and the killer.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. What was up with that, Darcy?
What was up with that, you say? No, I'll let you start because
Let me start.
What I'm going to rag on about just happens in the last episode anyway, because I genuinely was, even though it had some cheesy, corny, stupid shit in it, it was the last episode that pissed me off.
Yeah, there was like a reveal in the last episode that Darcy found stupid. It's 2005, right? So it is the most Criminal Minds-esque predictable shit. But me and Chris have spent so much time talking about it together that I actually want to know what Max thought about it, because we are so independent from this. I don't even know if you even fucking finished it. What did you think about it, Max? He did the same thing as me. He just made this face like, ooh.
I did finish it. 11 episodes. I didn't finish like the Chappelle Show because like I could just drop off of that. It doesn't matter. This one's telling an actual narrative, and it's certainly not as boring as something as like The Expanse, where I didn't finish that.
Holy fuck,
so
that
dull.
was awful. Yeah. How many episodes did we get? That 3?
You did. I got way further than you.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah. Dexter, season 1. I bought the DVD of the first season for £2 at CEX.
Oh, nice.
That was relatively cheap for me. And I watched them all. I watched one episode with you guys. Well, sort of like half of the first one, I think.
And then we watched the last. Yeah.
It's certainly it has its flaws, but ultimately, I think it takes a little while for me for it to get going. I think up until like the 4th episode, it was like I don't know. And then like at the 4th episode, it sort of like ramps up a bit, and the stakes get progressively higher. And by the end, I did have a very good time with it. I really enjoyed the show. I will carry on with it as well. So I think
nice.
That's. I enjoyed it overall. I think the acting is very good, and I like the characters a lot. And it's sort of, it is corny, and it is like a product. It is very much a product of its time, and like it took that kind of. It took a few episodes to kind of get over that hump. And it was like, this is so rooted in like 2006, where like
it really
the first
is,
episode, I was like, I'm not gelling with this like really much at all.
I didn't. Thing is, I'm like, oh no, I didn't hate it, because I actually was really enjoying it. I was, and I still did. I was like to Chris, I mean, I'm still going to carry it on, but I'm still really pissed off about this because it is
just this one thing. Like
it's
in the last
so
episode.
it's so fucking like, man, really? Like, did it have to be like that?
Yeah.
And then Chris was talking about how apparently it was like a book beforehand, but I didn't know that already.
Yeah, it's based on
blah blah blah.
The first season's based on a book called Darkly Dreaming Dexter, which I've read. It's actually a really, really good book. There's a lot of differences in the show. A lot of the characters in the book are just kind of like, they're just there. They have like 2 lines, and that's about it.
Oh, okay.
Like I think Angel Batista doesn't really have any like dialogue in the book. I think Masuka, the other like forensic guy, he isn't in the book at all, if I remember correctly.
Do you know what? They should have kept him out of the show as well. He's horrendous.
All
He's
the
absolutely
stuff
horrendous.
with Rita's ex-husband, I don't think was in the book either. I mean, it's pretty much literally just the Ice Truck Killer story.
Mark Pellegrino coming in.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
What a name.
He was in Supernatural. I think he played the devil. And so that's where I knew him.
Do you know what? I thought I recognised
when he
him.
came in, I was like, oh, wow, it's this guy.
Whereas my point of reference was Twilight Breaking Dawn.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought that was Misha Collins or whatever.
Wait, what? Misha Collins? No, he played an angel. He played Castiel.
Yes, he did. Oh, okay, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But oh god, Misha Collins. Hey. Anyway,
okay. I mean,
getting off track now. Yeah, no.
Why don't you talk about what fucking pissed you off? Like, just.
Oh yeah, sorry, no. Well, it's gonna be quite obvious now. Like, in the end, when they find out that Dexter just suddenly remembered he had a brother. And I was like, I fucking hate this. I hate this so much.
I had a brother.
God. Of course he's a brother.
And he was beautiful in every way.
And I was just like, fucking hell. And I just looked at Chris and I was like,
isn't it?
yeah, I was
very
so pissed off. But
it didn't piss me off as much, I don't think, as you, because he dies at the end, and I'm like, but at least they're never going to do that again.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because this is it. It was like, they've revealed that he's got this brother, and I'm like, ooh, how convenient to the story.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden
they don't have any other like really silly reveals like that throughout the rest of the show.
Like, oh, now he's conveniently dead again, so he didn't really need to be his brother in the first place, and it's stuff like that just bothered me. But to be honest, though, it didn't bother me enough to be like, I'm never going to watch this again, because it's just the kind of goofy attitude of 2005/6 that I expected, if that makes sense. I was like, part of me was annoyed that I didn't think about that sooner. Like, oh, duh, like, it's 2005, of course it's going to be his brother. Oh, look, his brother's randomly here. Like, I'm still annoyed about it, but I'm not annoyed enough to be like, this is the worst thing I've ever watched, because it's not. It's far from it, actually.
I think when I first watched this season, I was like 16, and when you got to that reveal, I was like, oh my god, it literally like blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, this is insane.
No, when I watched it, I was like, okay, all right.
I was very worried starting the show around this time. I've watched the first few seasons quite a few times.
Yeah.
But the first couple episodes, I was kind of like you, Max. Like this time around, I was like, I actually don't think I really like this show anymore. I was really worried. And then as it kind of like picked up its steam and it got more into it, I was like, no, I remember why I really like this show.
Can we also just talk about how stupid the ending was? Like the very, very end of this season.
Go on.
The fucking bit where he's like, oh, I wonder what everyone would be like if they found out who I really was. And there was like this fucking street party going on, and I was like, this is so dumb.
I loved it.
I just thought
that was so fucking funny.
I felt like this whole show. And the thing is, I'm complaining about it, but I'm only like half mad about it. But it really takes you back to like nostalgia corners or something. It's like, I remember when TV used to be this fucking like ballsy. Like you don't see shit like that anymore.
Like Bones.
Yeah, yeah, you don't see shit like this anymore. And I'm like, it's almost like a culture shock. You're like, fucking hell, like
oh god,
street parties,
hit point damage. Like, oh, fuck. Yeah.
But to be honest, I was actually vibing with the rest of the show. To be honest, like
yeah,
especially the crucial surprise motherfucker. It did not fail me.
That old meme. Yeah. Surprise, motherfucker.
French fries, motherfucker.
So good.
Supplies, motherfucker.
Brilliant. Stokes knocks it out of the park. I love that guy.
It was great. Like Chris just went, I hope you're ready for this. Yeah. You better get ready. And I was like, God, it's gonna happen. And it opens this fucking truck full of fucking bananas.
Like
and then he just fucking goes, surprise, motherfucker. I was like, wah!
It's great. It's so great.
It was a moment, and probably
There's a line
my favorite
in
bit from
the
that.
second episode where he's like driving and he says, bananas, my favorite fruit, second best driving fruit, keeps my energy up for the day job. I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I actually remember bringing this up because I think he said, before he said about the bananas, he said something like, and now I've got another thing to do. I gotta have my second favorite fruit or something.
Like,
and he's like, oh, I got a banana.
Three lines like in the former half of this season where it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Mate, what the fuck is he ever talking about? Like, there were some lines that proper made me cringe, and I turned to Chris and I was like, oh, this was the cringe that you were talking about. This cheese that you were talking about.
It's part of the territory though, isn't it? All the like
it is.
Casual sexism and all that.
Yeah.
With that Masuka guy, it was like, oh yeah.
He's horrendous.
I fuck you. Haha. And that's like,
yeah, that's
great,
it. That's his only shtick, is to be the
there's
sexist
like the bit
guy.
in the second to last episode where Santa's grotto and he says to Deb, "Can you sit on my lap?" and like, something like that.
Pretty gross. Yeah,
so fucking weird.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, "Can you sit on my lap and tell me what you want for Christmas?" or something.
Or like that bit where Debs goes, I need to get out of the rain. I'm wet and something else. And then he was about to say something and she goes, don't you dare. And I was like, oh, finally, like we're not gonna let the joke land today. I don't know.
But I thought it.
He's just a bit I did as well, I'm not gonna lie, but I wish he just wasn't in that show, to be honest.
What, Masuka?
Yeah. He serves no purpose but to be annoying as shit. And I'm like, I just don't like this guy.
He is literally just like the cringy comic relief character.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even funny. That's the worst part. If it was funny, I'd let it be, but it's not even funny.
Yeah, the thing is, like, throughout the rest of the show, they don't really do anything with him either.
Yeah.
There's like one like storyline towards the end of the show with him that kind of develops him a little bit, but for the most part he's literally just there to crack like sexist jokes.
Cool. Yeah, great one.
Yes, it's so
nice.
it's so becoming of that era. That isn't I'm going to grow up a little bit, isn't it? Because as the show goes on, does it get any more mature? Like, does it stop being cheesy or does it carry on being cheesy?
I think it is like cheesy, but in a different way. I do think it does get a little bit mature. It does kind of change with the times a little bit.
Because it went on for a very long time. And they had that like new one that came out that you talked about a bit.
Yeah,
was it this year or was it last year?
Last year.
Yeah.
It finished in 2013 and they brought it back last year, finishing beginning of this year.
Wasn't it because everybody basically said this is the worst fucking ending of a show we've ever seen in the history of television? And a lot of people said that about Lost as well. I know what happens at the end because me and Chris have been together like 3 and a bit years now, and I assumed in between this time he just assumed I was never going to watch it, so he's told me how the show ends as well, not the new ending but the original ending.
Well, at least don't know the new ending, eh?
Yeah, that is true. I don't know the new ending, but he was like, well, if you start watching it you'll know exactly what's going to happen. I was like, well, may as well just fucking tell me the ending then, because apparently you're going to tell me twice. But I just it's just one of them, isn't it?
I really like Michael C. Hall as Dexter.
I do.
Fantastic.
He is honestly one of my favourite actors, but I feel like he's just kind of been... He doesn't really get a lot of work.
Has he done anything? Yeah, I've not seen him in anything.
I've seen him in.
Yeah. Does he do anything?
He's been in like...
I'm going to look him up on Letterboxd, see if he's on there.
Films and TV shows, and he's just incredible in everything I've seen him in, but he's just not in a lot of stuff.
That's strange. Maybe he just doesn't want to. Who knows?
Maybe.
I think it's just because a lot of people won't hire him because he's so synonymous with the role that they think audiences won't be able to separate him from it.
But this performance is like something else. I just feel like he could do anything.
He's been in 23 movies.
Interesting.
One of them I've actually seen, Game Night. He was in Game Night, but I didn't know that.
He was.
I've seen it, but I don't recognise him.
He's barely in it, but he's like a villain in that.
Yeah. It's he's really good in this show. He's really good. The one fun. Thing that I thought probably I didn't gel with all that much was like this insistence that he was a guy who had like no emotions. He's like very regular. He has no emotions, and like he's like, oh man, I wish I could feel things sometimes. But like throughout the show, he just like, or the season, it's like he's constantly like getting irate, or just like things tick him off, or like he gets happy, he gets sad.
Yeah, or
like,
he cares about
stuff. He cares about Deb. He cares about his father. He cares about oh my god, I have a baby brother and he was beautiful in every way, and all that bullshit. All that he cares about so much.
Yeah,
he says he doesn't really care all that much about his girlfriend, but like by the end of the season, it's like he fucking does.
Yeah,
he definitely does.
I think it's just like a front he puts up. It's something that later on they definitely delve into a lot more, and they do kind of develop, and he does kind of come to terms with the fact that he's not just like this rock solid guy without emotions, but
I just
kind of like a boring character.
I think they. I don't know. Why they were so like adamant on it, because every time he was doing something, I was like, I'll just turn around to Chris and be like, well, here we go again.
I think a lot of it comes down to the character, because he is so low, like worried about being caught, and he's worried about people seeing the real him. So he does kind of try and pretend he doesn't feel anything, because if he admits he does or shows people how he actually feels, then they might see through to who he really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just felt like the whole time he was like very like level.
Yeah.
Or like he didn't really give himself away all that much, but like the moment he thought he could be caught, he goes into fucking like insanity. It's like, oh fuck, I gotta throw all my tools away, I gotta fucking like clean the scene again or like whatever. Oh, I'm fucked, I can't get out, I'm actually gonna like go to jail. This is so fucked up. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
well, you were the guy with no emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing that's quite confusing, because when you think about it, like, he's always going on about like how he always goes to bed, like, you know, he's never worried about this kind of thing. And I think, to be honest though, I guess the average human being, if they had killed someone, they'd probably constantly think about it. So like, where did it just switch randomly where he goes, oh shit, I actually think I care about this now, but then still carries on doing it? And I'm like, when you just stopped, if you were that worried about being found out, you would just stop while you're ahead. That's just not the show, is it? The show just, there's no logic to this show. This show is like, here we go.
There's a scene in the 3rd episode where it's like a flashback, and Dexter and Deb are like on like next to their dad, and he's on his like deathbed, and he like talks directly to Dexter, and he's like, you know what? I can't stop you from being who you are. If you feel like you're slipping, lean on your sister. And I'm just like, isn't Deb being like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
But she never fucking asks him.
Yeah, she never questions it at all.
Well, at the time, she's like, what are you talking about?
But then that's it.
Oh,
I would bring that up all the time.
I love that scene where he's wearing like the most obviously fake wig.
Say,
oh, it's so good.
How
It's so
awful
fucking
did
funny.
that look?
I loved it.
I actually think I burst out laughing because I was like, what
both
the
did, I
fuck
think.
is that? They went, oh, we'll just de-age him by putting a fucking bowl of wig.
I love it. It was
on
so
him.
funny. It was so fucking funny.
Yeah,
It's like a toss of the coin whether you're like going to get a different actor or just him in a wig.
Yeah.
With the flashback scene.
That's another thing, isn't it? That's another 2005 fucking special for you.
I don't know if this was on purpose, but in the very first episode, I thought, so this guy's like a Patrick Bateman type sort of guy, and then in the fucking 5th episode, or
are you going to talk about what I think you're going to talk about?
No, it's the 6th episode. But like he needs to get like tranquilizer at times, and he'll use an alias to do that.
Yep.
But he'll use the name Dr. Patrick Bateman.
How stupid can you be for doing that? Like that. That's
you
why
do that on purpose.
I saw that as well, and I thought,
I think the creators wanted to do it's just like a tongue-in-cheek reference.
Yeah, that's how I saw it.
When did that movie come out?
Like 2000, so
that's quite good. That was quite good. No, because I was actually thinking that. I was like, how far apart was this? Like, it was just meant to be like a
5-6 years. Yeah.
Because I would have assumed that most people by this day and age would have seen the movie, but I didn't know whether it was still fresh. Then I was like, oh, maybe not everyone has seen it. Maybe not everyone will get the joke, but
yeah. But I liked when he started showing emotion and like actually started caring, because before it was like, what does it matter? Like, he doesn't care.
There's
and
no
when he
stakes
actually
there,
starts like trying to help people, like, oh my god, my sister's been kidnapped, and he just goes fucking insane.
Yeah.
Or like he's like, this guy, my girl's ex-husband, or like her, just like, he's fucked. I need to get him out of here. She's like fucked up. She can't handle it. I need to protect her. And he like knocks him out and fucking stage. That was the fucking best.
Yeah,
when
so
he knocks
good.
him out just with a fucking frying pan, and he chucks him in the boot of a car, drives him across state lines where he's not supposed to go, stages this fucking violation of his probation, sticks a fucking heroin needle in him and like doses him up, and then he goes back to prison. I was like, that was sick. That was so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
And he does it because he cares. He loves her.
Yeah,
That's why he did it.
That's what makes the character more interesting than just like a Patrick Bateman sort of type, I think.
How much effort that must have been to go through to do all that.
Yeah.
And most people
He, like,
would,
wipes up,
yeah,
he's
most
like,
people would
I
fucking do
prefer
that.
her like happy than like annoyed, you know.
I do somehow like the idea that
It's like, yeah, I bet
he managed to do all of that and get back before she even noticed that he was gone. Like, how the fuck that must have been like some trajectory speed
He's very strong.
for him to do that.
Very strong. So we could carry him to the boot of the car and fucking go.
Yeah, like, no,
We
but the
saw
thing
him
is,
do it.
to cross state line, it depends how far across the state line is, right?
He didn't, like, he just put him in the boot of the car and then he waited until he had to leave. He didn't, like, drive him to state lines and then come back and be like, I was always here.
That's what I thought he did.
No.
I was just
Because he's like in the house when the kids are like,
speed does he go
where did my
at?
daddy go? His car's not there. Oh, man.
I actually do kind of like the idea, though, that he drove at like fucking 200 miles per hour to take him to this drug den and fuck him up before he came back and went, hi guys, just outside taking out the bin.
It always annoyed me when what's her name? Like his girlfriend.
Rita.
She's like always coming on to him or something. She's like, I can't do this. Like, fucking leave. It's just like so funny. But I'm like, you're an idiot. You're a fool. She's so hot. What are you doing?
And there's just that one time where I think Angel says you got to bring La Passion.
Yeah.
And like he brings home the DVD of like Terms of Endearment, I think it was, and she's like crying, and he tries to go down on that.
And then all you hear is like, you know how he always talks, it's like that inner monologue, and he goes, Le Passion. And I was like, no.
It's time.
Me and Chris were just like, oh dear God.
Well, we've all been there. I'd say you haven't tried it.
It's just the way that he said it. As it, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
Fucking amazing. I loved it so much. So good. Brilliant. So like Deb's boyfriend, the honest truck killer. He called himself Rudy.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck falls for a guy called Rudy? His sister like falls for him. He's like, oh my god, that's.
I actually did think it was really random.
Like incest by proxy.
Like how that came about.
That is fucked up though.
No, but then when
I think about it, it's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think Brian's worse. Like when he was like,
Brian.
He was like, oh yes, it's me, Brian, your brother, and I was
that's
like,
right, it's me. Brian.
I just got upset because I was like, his name's Brian.
The dog from Family Guy.
That's what Chris said. He was like, R.I.P. Brian Griffin. I was like, what the fuck?
You've seen that video when that guy shows that other guy the video of Brian death scene. And he's like, Brian's dead. So good. And he gets it right, you know. The characters, they get all these characters right, I think. Sets them up. You want them to succeed. You don't want them to die. You don't want to see Deb die. So I was like, if she dies, I'm fucking out of here. But she doesn't die, thank God. And I love that fucking scene at the end where he saves her and like Dokes is like, I'm onto you, son of a bitch. And then she comes over and she's like, don't you fucking say that about my brother. He's a hero. Fuck you. And I was like, yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Chris was trying to tell me apparently about like how fans actually hate Deb. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, a lot of people hate her, find her really annoying.
Wow. I didn't get that though. I was waiting to hate her because you told me that people hated her. So I was like, okay, let's see what she's about then.
I think it's just
and I didn't get it.
She's like loud, she swears a lot. People like just don't really gel with her, but I always really loved her.
Right, but by 2005 standards, maybe she was an annoying bitch, but by today's standards, she's a badass. Yeah, she's a gaslight girl keep girl boss.
Girl keep gas boss, and you know the rest of those.
Lighting.
Gate.
Yeah, it was only like the recent season that just came out that I actually didn't really like her, and the rest of it I really, really like the character.
Yeah, I like her.
Well, Chris has spoiled two characters that don't die for me. So
wait, what?
I know that the sexist guy doesn't die, and I know that Deb doesn't die. So I'm not watching the rest of this. I'm done. I'm out of here.
There is a lot of like really interesting characters that are really likable, played really, really well. I think it's a testament to the writing and also just the performances. I think everyone's just fantastic in it.
They somehow made that work in the cheesiest 2005 shape.
Even characters who are like kind of bad, like LaGuerta or Dokes, like it kind of shitty people, you do like really enjoy watching
I don't think
him.
she's that bad. She's just too into the craft, I think.
Knows what she wants.
Yeah, when your job's your whole life. LOL.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I had a good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I don't really. I mean, there's not much for me to say on that apart from liked show, liked characters.
Do you think he talks in his head a lot? Like you're hearing his narration. I think it probably wouldn't have worked if you didn't know what was going on in his mind, especially considering he was supposed to be a guy who had no feelings. You need to hear from the guy who has no feelings because you need to know why he doesn't feel things.
Do you know what? I was waiting for like the ultimate, like, I don't know, fourth wall break or something where everything just stops and he goes, "I'm Dexter." You're probably thinking, how did I become a serial killer? And he just starts
does
doing
that though, like towards the end.
It literally may as well have been like that the whole time.
I think there was like one part in like the 9th episode. We already written down by episode, and he says something in his head, and then Doke says, "What the fuck was that, Morgan?" I was like, "What? Can you read his mind?"
I didn't even pick up on that. That's actually quite funny.
Like that definitely happened. That would be so fucking cool if he was actually a mind reader. No spoilers. Don't tell me. I need to know. I need to have it unveiled for me as I carry on.
Yeah, I really love all the voiceovers. I think it's probably one of my favorite examples of like a character narration or like a character like kind of just describing their thoughts as it goes along.
The best example of that to ever be done is definitely Scrubs.
Or Twilight.
Twilight?
Yeah, Twilight. Twilight's probably the main one.
Nah, Scrubs.
Twilight is the main one. We all consider this the truth. Although, I don't know why Deb even liked Dexter, apart from the fact that he was her brother.
I think that's
he was
kind of just it.
Fucking rude to her the whole time. He just blew her off. He had nary a nice word to say about her.
Yeah.
Pretty much ever.
And the only time he ever did was when he was talking to us. Like in his narration voice. Like,
you know what?
She has a big heart, man.
She's alright sometimes.
She's so much better than me.
I feel like that's kind of just it though. They're like the only family they have now. So they are kind of like very close because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, it got to me a bit where I was like, I don't know if you put up with it that much. Like he's like
they're not
fucking really rude to her sometimes.
Yeah, like they're not even like blood related either. Like it's not even the case of being like, God, he's actually my family. I have to love him.
Well, I don't know.
He doesn't really. She doesn't really have to love him. I know you don't have to love your family, but you know what I mean. Like she doesn't really have any loyalty to him. Really.
Well, I don't know, I never put much stock in blood ties in that way.
No, but I'm just going by the logic that like if you were gonna do that, you don't have to do it now. You know what I mean? But it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's a TV show. You know what you're gonna do. They're not even real. They're not even real people.
I like in episode 5 when he like kills those the Cuban couple.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'm gonna ask you guys some questions. He's like really trying to like figure it out, like what makes the relationship work. He's like, how do you love each other after 12 years before he kills them? They're like, we want the same thing. You're like, thank you. That's helpful. And he just fucking kills them.
Yeah. No, at least that like really sweet scene where they're like him and Rita are eating dinner together and they like just kind of say about how they just want a normal life.
Yeah. I want normality.
And yeah, I didn't really think it was all that sweet though when you fucking contrast it to the scene before where people were getting fucking cut up and shit. I was just kind of like,
no, it's cute.
I didn't find it cute at all.
It's cute.
No.
And you know, he's trying to relate to her.
Yeah, I didn't think it was cute though. Not after that.
Hey, baby, I just carved up these two fucking weirdos. And they taught me a valuable lesson about relating to other people.
Oh, wait a minute. Can we just do it? You just triggered another fucking brain memory.
Brain memory.
The really, really funny bit when that little boy does the sketch and it turns out to be Jesus.
Yeah, it's like, what,
So
what the fuck?
Because Dexter's like, oh no, it's going to be a picture of me. I'm going to lie. And then he just...
Yeah. Insane.
And it's just...
I was thinking, like, so what if he says it to you, he's fucking traumatized? Just be like, he's
Yeah.
insane. Like, of course it's not me.
Just be like, I look like this other guy.
I'm a police officer. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm a police officer.
I'm not saying that, like, he's a generic-looking guy, but you could probably, like, draw someone who looked like him and be like, oh, it kind of looks like you, but it's not you.
He's a very good-looking, generic-looking guy, but...
No,
you know.
yeah, but you know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't pick him out of the lineup, really.
Yeah, like he doesn't really have anything, like, overly identifiable about him either.
Except when he does the fucking Kubrick smile.
Yeah,
that's fucked
true.
up. Like,
Yeah.
this guy's insane. He's so good at it.
Which is what made that Jesus thing even fucking funnier for some reason. I just wasn't expecting that to why didn't I expect that? But I just did. Ugh, so funny.
Who's do you guys remember in episode 8 where Dokes chases that guy under the causeway?
Yeah.
It's like this whole thing about, like, did he kill him, or like, who shot first?
Mm.
They're like, this guy is dead, and they show the body. He's so clearly breathing. Like, he's just there, like, his stomach is fucking rising up and down. I'm like, what do you mean he's dead?
I forgot about that.
Didn't even try.
Yeah.
Fucking
That's
hell.
why he's an extra.
Oh, so funny.
I like that. I might have to go back.
It's
and see
riddled
that.
with shit like that. That's why I don't take it seriously. I can't like watch it and be like, this is so super serious, because it is from 2006, and it comes with the trappings from that era. But still really liked it. Still
Yeah,
enjoyed
maybe
it.
they actually saw that in edit and went, we'll just keep
I think
it.
at the same time, it's not supposed to be completely serious. There's definitely a lot of
Mhm.
like
It can't
really
be,
serious
'cause it
things
just
going
can't
on,
be.
but a lot of it is like quite comedic and quite silly. It does seem quite self-aware a lot of the time. It kind of knows it's a kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just cannot fathom in any world where they think this is a actual serious show.
No, there was like that guy who like they like cut off his hand and his foot, and he's like in the hospital. And Deb's like, "What? I like this guy. I'm going to get him a whore."
Oh yeah.
Oh, what?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck? She's like, well, why don't we just blindfold you like you were blindfolded when you were being cut up, and maybe it will evoke memories and definitely not re-traumatize you and make you worse. I'm a police officer. Like,
I know what I'm
why
doing.
don't you know that? Why don't you know that's a bad idea? And then she's like, you know what else is a good idea? I'm gonna get him a whore. Like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird decisions in the show.
For sure.
Oh dear. I don't really have any more notes for it.
I don't. It's kind of self-packaged, really, isn't it?
Something else I wanted to bring up is I really do like the music, but I wish there was a little bit more of it rather than the same stuff being repeated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of a problem I have with just the show as a whole, because they do repeat the same like themes and stuff throughout the
Will
whole
you
show.
shut up, Darcy?
That was the theme. I was doing the theme.
But I really, really love the intro theme song, and just that whole title sequence is one of my favourites.
I'll be honest, I skip through it all the time.
Yeah, so did we.
Yeah, I think we watched
It's
it
like 2
like
minutes
once.
long.
Yeah, I watched it once and I went, okay, we never have to
Yeah,
watch
I
that
need to.
again.
Yeah, I've got that. That's in the bank.
I'd be happy to watch it like every time, but it's like it's
It goes like,
connected as a
here's what-
chapter with the recap.
Yeah, it's like, here's what happened last time. And then like by the time you're actually in the episode, like 2.5 minutes have passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's its own chapter, so we just skipped the chapter and get into the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't be bothered. Watch a recap of the episode that I watched 0.5 seconds before that. I get if this was like a weekly thing, but like literally, I
Doesn't
just
need to
clicked
be like that on the
next
DVD.
episode. No, it doesn't.
No.
But
Oh, one thing I'll say is I liked in the second episode that they said, you know what, we got a new victim. and he was a police officer. I was like, oh, so it doesn't matter then.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Great season. Thanks. What are we going to rate this out of?
Blood slides.
Blood slide.
I like the blood.
Yeah. He has this cool little blood slide box.
You freak. Yes, he does.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is, it's like I said, if it's not my favourite show, it's definitely up there. I really, really love it. It's very goofy and very flawed, but there's so many great things, I think, to it. This is one of my favourite seasons of the show as well. I think it's a really great introduction to all the characters in the world that they're creating. Yeah, I think I give it 9 blood slides out of 10 just this season alone.
Yeah, cool. This season alone, I mean, I've only seen this one. I guess I'll rate it out of that. I had a really good time with it. It does take a little while on the uptake to kind of get going and get the ball rolling, but by that end episode, I'm like, yeah, something's going to happen. They're setting up things. Things are coming. More things are coming. I'm going to watch season 2. I will. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for recommending it, Chris.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Probably give it 8 blood slides out of 10.
Surprise, motherfucker. 8 blood slides out of 10.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Surprise, motherfucker. French fries, motherfucker. God, I love that meme so much. Tumblr, peak.
Next episode is a Christmas episode. It will be 105 number episode. So we're all doing Christmas movies, and then we're going to take a week off because it's just very busy time, and we don't have time for it. So we're all picking a Christmas movie each. Take it away, Chris.
Yes. So I'm picking a movie that I don't think Max has seen.
Ooh.
I think we established Darcy has seen it.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's one of my favourite Christmas movies. I'm picking Gremlins.
Ooh, Gremlins.
Joe Dante movie, 1984. Just got it on 4K.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's one of the ones. One of the ones I've not seen.
It's very rare that I've seen a movie and Max has not seen a movie.
I was sort of tossing it up, and I was like, oh, well, this is going to be like lame and boring. But I figured I have been meaning to watch it for a while, so I'm just going to toss a coin, just like, I'm just going to take a chance on it. So it is the 1960 movie directed by Billy Wilder called The Apartment.
Oh, nice. I really want to watch that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I've gone for the very generic approach.
Elf.
No, I'm not subjecting anyone to Elf, but I am going to make...
I almost did. I am
going to make everyone watch The Nightmare Before Christmas instead.
Nice.
Yeah, we thought you'd pick that, so her backup choice was the Corgi Christmas movie.
Oh, fucking hell.
No, it wasn't a Corgi Christmas movie. It's a Royal Corgi Christmas.
Oh, we can watch that too.
Yeah.
Great. So we got Gremlins, The Apartment, and The Nightmare Before Christmas coming up next week on the Sunday Movie Marathon. We have social media: YouTube, The Sunday Movie Marathon; Instagram @Sunday Movie Pod; Twitter @Sunday Movie Pod; Facebook @Sunday Movie Marathon; and Letterboxd @Sunday MM, capital S, capital MM. Remember to like, subscribe, and rate the podcast 5 stars. Any finals?
Merry Chrysler.
Merry Chrysler.
Coming at you hard, coming at you fast. Normal things, normal results.
Delicious.
In the Christmas episode, where we will all have presents.
Will we all have presents?
And pies. Perhaps.
Could get some
All this and more on episode 105 of the Sunday Movie Marathon.
Doodles.
Say it again, Dexter. The Bluetooth device is ready to pair. The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.